Hi, so today we're going to go through my favorite program that I use with my clients and the one that I use the most often when they pass the beginner stage, and it's called 0 to 100 Orange. So it's quite a similar layout to the 0 to 100 Blue program, but there's a few really important changes that make it a fair bit different at the same time. So the changes are harder versions of the same exercises. I'll go through that in far more detail now in a minute. And the second big change is supersetting upper body movements together and supersetting lower body movements together instead of supersetting upper and lower together. And that's a slight change, but it makes a big difference. So you're doing antagonistic pairs for the most part for upper and antagonistic pairs for the most part for lower. People I train who I put on this program always love it. And one of the key reasons is this is where you start to really notice your strength in the exercises that really matter. So this has squats in it for a full 12 weeks, chin-ups in it for a full 12 weeks, the harder exercises like one-arm row, which is probably the hardest type of row to perform correctly, Nordic curls, which are the hardest type of curls for your legs, but the most effective for your hamstrings, and also a wide variety of movements that are just more difficult than the beginner style movements in the 0 to 100 Blue plan. So to start with exercises, the exercises on phase 1 will definitely be a step up in difficulty level than the exercises in the 0 to 100 Blue. So what you're going to end up doing is focusing on the exercises that I think are most important no matter what your goals are in the gym, which is Bulgarian split squat, the barbell squat, Nordic falls, chin-ups, and dips for men, or military press for girls. They are really important exercises that I think should be the top priority, is getting good at those exercises, even though they are very difficult. You'll notice your strength building rapidly in every movement that you do if you start getting strong at those core movements. So in the first phase, you got your antagonistic pair, so you have your leg curls for high reps supersetted with the barbell squat. Exposing most people to the barbell squat or the safety bar squat is always really enjoyable, because a lot of people when they go into the gym, they will tell you something like, I can't squat, or every time I squat my lower back hurts. So one of the most rewarding parts of training people here in the gym is when they're barbell squatting with really good form, going really deep, and they feel athletic, pain-free, and really strong under that bar. On the second day, people are exposed to a brutal superset, really hard, the Bulgarian split squat and Nordic falls. So if you can master these two movements technique-wise, the strength in your legs and how functionally strong you are in your lower body will improve at a rapid rate. So what I like to give most people the target of, whether male or female, is to be able to lift half their body weight for 10 reps on the Bulgarian split squat. So let's say if you weigh 80 kg, you should be able to lift 20 kg in each hand for 10 reps on the Bulgarian split squat. If you get up to that strength standard or that level of strength, your strength in your lower body will improve massively. Now, it's so much easier said than done, but if you have a solid 12 weeks under your belt where I move people through the basic exercises and the basic strength and flexibility standards like the 0 to 100 Blue plan, if you have that under your belt, it's very realistic for people to be getting to that in their first 3 to 6 months of training, if they have that solid base of lifting done in their first 12 weeks. Other pretty advanced exercises on the phase 1 are long stride lunges. Big favorite of mine in here. Good mornings with the barbell on your back, so another exercise where you're loading a barbell on your back, brilliant for your glutes, hamstrings and lower back. The barbell hip thrust, very popular movement in here, especially for women who are interested in developing their glutes, but for men as well. The kettlebell or dumbbell pullover as well, which is a huge favorite of mine. I use so often with all types of clients. That's brilliant for shoulder stability and shoulder health, but it's almost non-existent in most gyms. You won't find people doing it because it requires so much flexibility in the shoulders and people feel like they're going to get injured when they're doing it. However, when it is performed correctly, it's a brilliant exercise. As regards the sets and reps, I keep it pretty similar, so 3 by 8 to 10, 3 by 6 to 8 maybe in some of the movements like squats, Nordics, chin-ups and dips. And I'd be focusing on having one set of each exercise where you're really pushing hard close to failure and getting a bit stronger, whether it's by adding weight or adding a couple of reps with the same weight per session. I wouldn't be trying to make all 3 sets stronger than the previous session. I'd be focusing all out on making sure that there's one set of each exercise where you're trying to push yourself and progressively overload a little more than the last day. So that will dictate more than the sets and the reps, but 3 sets of 8 to 10, 3 sets of 10 to 12 be the most common, and then with some of the harder movements, I let people go down to 4, 5, 6 reps on stuff like chin-ups, dips and squats, where they're trying to build strength. And that would be no problem at all. It would actually be very beneficial as long as people are covering those higher rep ranges in the C series exercises or the D series exercises. As regards the weight, this, like I mentioned with the Bulgarian split squat earlier on, giving people strength targets for this program is so rewarding because they get to lift weights in the squat, the barbell hip thrust, they get to do the brilliant body weights exercises like chin-ups and dips, and they get to use heavier weight than they ever thought possible on military press and rows. So I would be pushing weight far higher in this program than the first program because they have that really strong base and they know how to hinge properly with their hips, how to retract their shoulder blades and row properly. So you will be stressing weight and progressive overload even more in this program than the first one. But that being said, always done in a safe way where you're incrementally improving the weight rather than big jumps of 5, 10, 15 kg a session. Even 2.5 kg a session added to the squat or the hip thrust over a 12-week period is an increase of 30 kg. So even though 2.5 is only a small bit of weight to be adding at a time, it adds up to massive progress. Finally, this program isn't too advanced for most people. Most people I train can move into this program after a few solid months lifting under their belt. And also, it's not too beginner for anyone. No matter how advanced you are, you'll get plenty out of a program like this. It has all the toughest, most rewarding lifts in it. If you have experience lifting and maybe you haven't trained in a year or two, I would say that this is the perfect program for you to go back into lifting with. Provided you're injury free, you're going to make a lot of strength and muscle gains on this very quickly, especially if you've that muscle memory from training before.